The Geek Week in Review, episode 25. Strap yourself in. We've got lots to talk about this week. Here we go.
The Geek Week in Review.
Hello and welcome back to the Geek Week in Review with me, Jacob's Toys, of course, the wonderful one and only SuperSorrell, and of course, Ryan Speaks Geek. If you listen on podcasts, then please do download, like, share, all those things. If you watch it on YouTube, as always, like, share, subscribe, and all of those things. Check the details below for all the gents' details, and give them a follow if you don't already do so. Good week, guys. Been an interesting one. Quite a few things popping up and down. So without further ado, I want to bring in an extra guest this week. We've got a special guest. Now, anyone watching will probably be familiar with this person's name because he's usually at the heart of subjects when it comes to kind of figure leaks or at least product codes and stuff like that. You know, usually the guy with his finger on the pulse. I know when it comes to a lot of things that I've read, the guy's name is usually attached to it somewhere. So without further ado, our guest this week is the one and only Rektangular. How are you doing? You good?
Good. Yeah, not too bad for almost the end of the year.
Almost. We're getting there. We are getting there. So let's dive in straight away because I think one of the big things is obviously the Black Series Rancor. What did you guys make of that? What did you guys make of the news this week when it comes to that?
It's been losing backers this week. Oh dear, it's been up and down all week, hasn't it? It's not like consistently gone up.
The Haslab roller coaster project, it should be called.
Yeah.
No. I mean, obviously I was watching it quite closely. I mean, as I've said in previous shows, I didn't back it. It wasn't one that I was interested in backing. But it was interesting to watch. It was interesting to see how people obviously, like you say, the backers dropped, which was, really surprising. But then Hasbro kind of pulled a bit of a surprise move, didn't they? So one of the requested figures was obviously the Rancor Keeper. Does he have a name? Is he actually got an official title?
It's Malik, isn't it?
Is it Malik?
I think I can't remember how it's pronounced, but I think it's British. It's around like a Malik, I think it is, but it's got like a J, some eyes, and a Batman symbol. Some weird spelling, but like I'm pretty sure it's Malik.
Yeah, he was. But then obviously that was one of the ones that we requested, and then sort of out of nowhere, Hasbro just kind of dropped a, hey, you guys asked for it, and so we're going to give it to you. I mean, I know I've got my thoughts on that. What did you guys think?
I thought it was funny that I put that video out. Did you see the thing? I put that video out where I sort of like had a moan and said, you know what? I'd back it if you gave us Malik and if you gave us Ula. And then all of a sudden, like an hour later, we're giving you Malik. Like, maybe
now, does that mean you backed it now, though?
No, have I? I need Ula. I need Ula, at least Ula still until if they gave. I said on the video, if they gave us all the tiers, but gave us them for the standard goddamn price rather than making it a tier in the first place, gave us all them figures. Plus the Rancor Keeper and potentially Ula. If they did that, that's like 4 figures plus the Rancor. I could justify the price then. But just the Rancor, and it's never going to reach its tiers. So no, I'm not backing it.
No, I must admit, I thought it was a bit of a bizarre move because it kind of sets the pace for things going forward. That if enough people complain about it, then are they going to kind of fold? I don't think it was and it didn't have the effect that I think they were hoping it would.
No.
The
Proton
backers
Pack's coming with a wand now.
Yeah, but the backers did not jump, did they? They didn't skyrocket at all. And what
the people that have backed it have already backed potentially the Razor Crest and still don't have that in hand yet, and have still got not got a firm date for release, and they're expecting you to double down with more money to get something else that you're not sure when you're ever going to get it. Plus, you're still waiting on, if you're a collector like us of multiple lines, you could still potentially be paying off Sentinel and waiting for Galactus. There's a lot of projects all at once right now that I think it's too many. It should have been spread out.
G.I. Joe, Star Saber.
I must admit, when they did Hasbro PulseCon, it felt like every panel had a Haslab, which was quite surprising. Now, I'm a big Marvel fan, and I think the Marvel ones have been great so far. Zero complaints. But I just thought it was a really bizarre move. I think that they expected it to really kind of take off, and I don't think there was much movement in it at all. How long's actually left on it? It's got to be like hours now, surely. It's got to be into
it's about a day, but they've barely crawled back to where it was before they started losing backers.
Really?
It's at
Wow.
5,500 and change, and they had lost almost 1,000 backers before they made the Rancor Keeper announcement, and then it started to climb itself back up.
So it's currently on 5,503. And it's got 1 day, 2 hours, and 52 minutes. But I'm pretty sure if Rektangular looks at his end, he'll have more hours than us. For some reason, it cuts off in the UK earlier.
Oh, really?
I don't know why.
You'll see it here first
Here
on
we
the
go.
Geek Week in Review.
Because when I put my video out about it, all my American followers were like, what are you on about? It's got this amount of time left. And I'm like, that's what it says in the UK.
Yeah, you're right. It says 1 day and 7 hours, 52 minutes.
They've got 5 hours on us, and I'm not sure why.
Wow.
Now they're only going to get the Rancor Keeper if it hits 9,000 though. Is that right?
Well, it's probably because it's going to end East Coast time.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
We'll be in bed.
You guys already be in bed.
Well, we tucked up with our money in our pocket because it's not gonna get backed. But yeah, they wanted 9,000, didn't they, for the Rancor Keeper?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it was something along them lines, and it's they've thrown this thing out here, kind of shown their cards, and it's not even going to get backed, which not even going to reach that tier, which I think is a real kind of, I don't know. Could this spell the end of Haslabs? Do you think?
Might be the last one for a Black Series Haslab.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think management is really going to have to tell them that you guys need to work harder at enticing people up front. Because I feel like they kind of screwed the pooch with the Galactus too, where I think they would have sold more if, number one, if we weren't getting that ridiculous Dr. Doom head. If they had thrown in Fire Lord and they had told you up front the way the G.I. Joe team was, all the tiers that you were going to get, I think they would have got more backers. 100%.
I 100% agree with you. I think I said this in a previous week that I think it might have been a video even, but I think that the tiers need to be announced. So it almost is a case of, this is what the product is. This is what we're going to give you if we get this many people, just so that you really know what you're buying into. Because I think the Sentinel kind of went the way that it did just because it was this big, huge Sentinel. It made sense to Marvel Legend collectors. We were also at that period where it was kind of just hitting into COVID and everything like that. So everyone had sort of spare change because they weren't going on holidays and stuff like that. So I just think that, and all of the tiers that they released with that were like an extra bonus. It was like, oh, we're going to give you battle damaged head. And everyone went, yeah, and we're going to give you like, this Sentinel line. We're going to give you Bastion. And every single one of them, people were cheering. Whereas each Haslab project since, I think that people have expected really high tiers and almost been disappointed with what they got.
Yeah, but let's not forget when they did Rancor, like Sentinel was good because you got an alternate head as your first accessory. Second one was a battle damaged head and hand. Then you got a 6-inch figure. The Marvel, the Star Wars one was first up. You're gonna get a few little bones. Now we're gonna give you a cardboard little cutout that should be in the box anyway. It's like,
and if you're lucky, we're gonna fart in the box.
Yeah,
it's like
however,
hit 10,000.
If you give us a ridiculous amount of backers, then we'll give you a Luke Skywalker we're gonna release next year anyway.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it. It's just
it's like you previously said as well, Sorrell. Like, this is the first 6-inch Black Series Haslab, which is really, I think for a franchise that's got so many big monsters and vehicles and so much potential for Haslab projects, I think they've really unfortunately kind of missed
if they'd have made the Rancor set as a 3-inch vintage collection with the dungeon as a play set attached to it, that would have sold. The fact they've gone 6-inch, I think just ruined it. They've been doing really well with making the playset vintage stuff as a part of the Haslabs. They've done really well with them. To then move to this 6-inch line and the first one's a dud.
Yeah,
it's going to be hard to come back from here.
Yeah, it's a shame. It is a shame. So what was because I'm not 100% clued up on my figures. I should have looked at it before we came on. But what is the actual we need this many to make it. Like, has it been? Has it passed that?
Are you ready? No.
Go on, Em.
No, it's not. It's never going to reach them. It's never going to reach them. So it's currently on 5,000, but the first tier unlocks at 11,000, and you're going to get a Gamorrean guard that you already own. But this one comes on a fancy card back with a coin. 13,500 will get you some bones. 16,000 will get you the Salacious Crumb, which you're already getting anyway, because you're going to get that in the Creatures pack, which is already up for pre-order with Disney.
Or if you have the SDCC Boba Fett, or
you already own it.
Jabba the Hutt, you already have it. Yeah.
19,000 will get you Jedi Luke. And now they're saying that at 9,000 they're going to give us the Gamorrean Keeper thing. What do you call him?
Rancor
Rancor
Keeper.
As well. Yeah, the Rancor Keeper.
So the Rancor Keeper is like the lowest tier that they've got.
9,000, and that's the minimum backers they need to back the project is 9,000. So you'll get him as standard, basically. He's not a tier.
Work out where he is on my.
He's not a tier. He's basically he's the standard figure that comes with the toy.
He's somewhere.
Wow.
Target is 9,000, and he's a 9,000 thing. So you're guaranteed to get the figure and the monster, but you're not guaranteed to get anything else unless it reaches higher tiers.
If they were really smart, they would have chucked in a Yaddle at like 2,000 packets instantly, just to get the interest going. And then it would have just gone from strength to strength.
You love your Yaddle. What's really interesting though, because we are, regardless of where you're watching this or where you are, we're in that kind of fear of missing out stage, aren't we? We're in that kind of last bit where if people were kind of sitting on the fence, they would start clicking the button now. It's usually within the last kind of 24 hours that you start seeing things creep up, or you have done previously with some of the others. So if the numbers aren't jumping now, I don't think they're going to.
I see people maybe jumping on this at the end are going to be the people that are going to be holding it to sell it at a later date. I think people will treat this as an investment rather than an actual thing they're going to enjoy.
It's interesting you say that,
because people later down the line will be able to sell it.
It's interesting you say that though, because I just want to touch on kind of buy to sell kind of investment. Like I'm sure you guys would have seen on some of the groups, like Sentinels are starting to go up for sale now. People are trying to sell their Sentinels, and the prices that I've seen them go up for, like with zero interest, like are kind of the £700, £800, £900 mark. Like it's ridiculous, but no one's buying them because it's too expensive. Like why would somebody spend that much money on something a year later? I don't. So I think that
people are thinking the sail barge, because the thing is, the sail barge was like right at the very beginning of the Haslab series, like before they did the Marvel ones. Stuff like sail barge was this big, like, it was the white whale, the great white buffalo. It was the mystical thing to get. And the thing is, they did it so well with the the way they did it, but also because so many people were unsure about what Haslab was at that time, a lot of people didn't back it, because they weren't sure how it was going to work, what really was, as that was so new. Now, when that did then obviously come out, people were genuinely paying over $1,000 for it, and some people still are because of that. And I think the problem is people now just think, like, you're right, like, because it was Haslab and people were backing 2, they're getting 2. That's how the numbers are going up on a lot of these. People are getting 2, 3 or whatever. Yeah. With the thought that I'm going to be able to sell this for $1,000 in 2 years' time, or I'm going to be, because they just think it's like a sale barging. But you're right, people actually don't want to spend that much money. But the other thing is the difference. It's like the sail barge was a giant play set that could hold 100 figures. There was so much you could do. It was so many things. Whereas a Rancor is a Rancor. You can put it in Jabba dioramas or maybe a Book of Boba, according to the teaser art. You are a bit limited more what you can do with that. And I think there's that not guaranteed resellability.
I think that's almost like buying every comic book because Amazing Fantasy is worth however many million. Just thinking that you can buy every comic book because it's going to be worth more next year. And I think that's a really sad way of looking at things. Rektangular, have you backed it? Have you backed the Haslab? Nah. So that's 4 for 4 here that we are just not in. Have you got any of the Haslabs?
Yeah, I got the Sentinels sitting over here, and I'm getting the Galactus.
Yep.
And I had a friend of mine at work. He missed out on the Galactus because he didn't realize he could use his credit card to buy it. So he went on eBay and got one for $600.
Wow. Wow. So that's a bit of a jump there from the price. I think that over here, at least, I think the Galactus is tend to sell people were buying multiple, I think, because they thought that it would have the resale value ability that the Sentinel potentially had. Whereas obviously, at least if you're left with kind of 2 or 3 Sentinels, you've got 2 or 3 Sentinels. You can't have 2 or 3 Galactus. Like it's, even with that nifty interchangeable Doom head, like it's not going to work.
But the thing for me is, I've seen 3 Sentinels go up for sale this week. 3. However, I've never seen a single sale badge up for sale ever.
No.
So I mean, there's a difference
in America.
Yeah, there's a difference in there. The numbers were a lot lower for the sale badge back in the day as well. Mm-hmm. Whereas the numbers now are expected to be a lot higher. There's no resale value in it really, but I think people think there are.
But even the Sentinel, like if memory serves me right, I think it was 6,000 that they needed for the backers on Sentinel, which is a much more realistic kind of, 6,000 if you back this, we're going to make it. And then they had the tiers, like to throw the Rancor in at like 9,000 as a minimum. That's really ambitious.
I've said as well, I've said all along, by having so many going at once, you've split your audience because the majority of us collect multiple franchises. You said yourself you were tempted by the Ghostbusters pack, but you're also a Star Wars and Marvel collector. So, I mean, we all collect multiple lines, and sometimes you've got to weigh it up, which franchise you prefer more to what to what thing you want to back the most. Yeah. And after just backing the Marvel ones, can you now afford this one? You know what I mean? You've got to, especially this time of year at Christmas.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, another thing, not great timing.
Yeah, timing was very poorly planned, timing wise, and the tiers, and the price, and the number of backers, and also they tend to forget space. Like people, at some point, don't have enough space for all these things.
Yeah. No, 100%. I think that, especially when you look at, if I was marketing at Hasbro, it's the dream job I'd never have. But if I was marketing at Hasbro, I would have said, right, do Hasbro PulseCon, announce all of these kind of Haslabs that are happening, but they drip feed them throughout the year. So then you would have the particular people that were working on, like interested in the particular brands, build up hype, maybe drop the Ghostbuster one immediately because of the film coming out, but then announce that the Rancor's coming in March or something like that, just so that people can speculate about what the tiers are going to be, and then that way the guys at Hasbro would also see what people are talking about and be able to throw those tiers in and hit the nail straight away from the ground running and get people back in. I think it was too much at once.
Guaranteed though, if they'd have dropped the Rancor for the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi, it would have probably got backed because there'll have been enough time. There'll have been over a year without a Haslab for Star Wars. It would have been plenty of time. It will have passed. And I think people would have been on the hype wagon for Return of the Jedi, getting excited about the 40th, and then drop that Haslab. People would have backed it. I'm telling you.
Well, and also, why not have a fan poll? Like if we make X character, what tiers do you want to be included, or X vehicle, whatever?
Yeah. That'd be a really easy way of doing it.
I have found out who's running the campaign though for it. It's this guy. So apparently he's really good at missing the point. So that's I think what's happened there.
Oh, Ryan.
Thank you. Ryan's prop pun of the week.
Oh, Ryan, dear, oh dear. And what else in Black Series? Any other news or things anyone's excited about?
No.
So I was able. I cherry pick very hard on the Black Series line. I mostly stick to like aliens, bounty hunters, mercenaries. I don't buy a lot of troopers. Like they just go crazy with troopers. It's like every wave you get another trooper.
Yeah.
But, so I was happy that I was able to pre-order Fennec Shand, Bib Fortuna, and then the 2 dudes from episode 4 from the Cantina scene, Ponda Baba and Doctor whatever his name is.
Yeah. Did you
Dr. Azkaban, is it?
Azkaban,
yeah, something like that.
Did you not get the Cantina Showdown set then?
No, the thing was way too expensive for half a Cantina.
Oh, I know. So it is a really nice set. It is a really nice set, but again, the whole kind of showing you that if you buy 2 and put them together, Like the fact that they released those two characters in a wave so soon after probably stopped so many people buying a second wave, because what are you going to do with those characters? You're going to sell them on. And now those characters are going to be worth nothing because people are going to be able to pre-order them themselves. So they've kind of, unless they drop the price of the Cantina set, people aren't going to be buying it to resell those figures. So
I never saw the point. I wish that they'd have done 2 sets for the Cantina, that like with different figures. So you had to buy both sets to clip them together. That would have made more sense. But to make us buy 2 of the exact same set, why does anybody want 3 of the same figures twice? You know, nobody wants that.
No,
I don't know.
That's what they did on the original. You know, the actual the better scale, in my opinion, the 3 3/4 inch scale. That's what the old Cantina sets were. There was a couple of corner pieces done with individual figures, but the actual bar 3 packs were different characters in each bar pack. So when you had all the pieces, you had an entire Cantina, and guess what? You also had all the different patrons. Rather than going, what do you do, like Obi-Wan, but then like mirror universe Obi-Wan across the side of the bar? Like, you know,
it's like a cosplay party. Like it's like
hello there, hello there, hello there, hello there.
Like a convention, like an Obi-Wan Kenobi convention, like bar meetup. But I don't know. It's a shame. I just think that they're really missing the point on some things, because it's not even clever. It's not even clever marketing in that respect. Like,
they either do really great stuff or really bad stuff. There seems to be very little in the way of middle ground with Hasbro. It's either solid win or what?
Like I only dip on the Black Series, like, so I like you, Rectangular, I kind of cherry pick. So I feel that I can kind of complain because it's not my line. It's not my main line. But I just, like I said, that Cantina set, it's an awesome piece. But before it was even cold, they were putting those figures up, and those 2 figures were the main part of. Like, we've had the Obi-Wan Kenobi or the Ben Kenobi. So if you're a really die-hard fan, like, you had that figure already anyway, and you were kind of going, you know what, I'll double up or I'll replace or update or whatever, because I want those 2 and I want the Cantina. So the fact that they released that so soon after just totally devalued the set and totally took away any kind of possibility of anyone doubling up on the actual set, which is a real shame. I think real shame. Do you think we're going to see some new waves for Book of Boba Fett towards the end of the year, or new figure announcements?
Probably not.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that. Well, we already know that we're getting Boba Fett in that new his current costume. Yeah. And I don't know what else, but that's the thing that frustrates me so much about Black Series, and in a lot of my complaints about Marvel Legends as well, is the character selection. My girlfriend and I started rewatching Mandalorian, and there's so many aliens, so many background characters that we could get in, and you could use from all of the movies and series. They're really versatile. You're not just stuck with, like Ponda Baba. Like, you'd be able to pop that head on another body and have him, a similar character from that race. But we see so many aliens in all the series that we don't have figures of yet, that you could use in, tons of different setups.
Oh, 100%.
And it's a waste. It's lots of wasted opportunities. Like, make packs, like make like a 5-pack of all these different alien races,
and just ride the coattails of the popularity of the Mandalorian as well. Like, that show obviously introduced Star Wars to so many people, and obviously kind of revamped it a lot for a lot of the fans of Star Wars as well. I mean, I know it's definitely what pulled me back like hard into the franchise. But they just sort of, it's almost like sort of somebody said, right, we're really going to ride these coattails hard. We need to really throw out as many Mandalorian sort of characters as possible. And then the person there is taking it really literal and just giving us loads of variations of the Mandalorian. Like, we'll do one that's muddy, and we'll do one in the Beskar, and we'll do, no, we meant all the other characters, not the actual like Mandalorian. But
he's having a weekend off.
But yeah, we definitely could have. There's so many. That's one of the things as a fan I loved about Star Wars, is just the sheer like scope of characters and all the different races and the intricacy of all of these different kind of languages and planets and all of that kind of stuff. But I don't feel that Black Series has really tapped into that anywhere near as much as they could. They give you multiple droids, multiple stormtroopers or troopers, depending what franchise you're looking at, and then lots of versions of the main characters. And it's kind of like, you know what, really go deep into it and give us all of those. Give us Ryan, nice. But no, just give us those kind of extended universe. And when you look at programs like the Clone Wars as well, you know, the amount of races and aliens and creatures that we were introduced to that we've just not seen in kind of 6-inch action figure form. It's just a real shame. I think it's a real missed opportunity.
I mean, I still don't understand the 6 inches myself. I just think it was such an unnecessary addition. But you know, but I'm not a Marvel Legends collector either, so that scale is still an alien concept to me. These 6 or 8 inch, I mean, it's very widely debated.
I'll tell you what it is. Why we're doing it, right? This thing was 6 inch.
Look, Kenner did this. Look at all these. Here's your aliens. Here's your. This is how we do it.
But the reason why 6 inch is so good is because it crosses over with so many different franchises. So you can have your Boba Fett stood next to your Iron Man and stood next to your Peter Venkman. Do you know what I mean? Because they all just kind of match up, and you can do that kind of crossover. For me, like my kind of OCD, like I couldn't have sort of 3 3/4 inch Star Wars figures next to 6 inch Marvel figures. That just wouldn't fit for me. They all need to be the same size. So I think that's why that
sounds exhausting. I'll be honest. Don't never get into Transformers because they're all different sizes.
Yeah.
Like
don't get me started on Transformers, mate. That I had nervous breakdowns over some of the Transformers. So this Optimus Prime doesn't match up to this, you know. So yeah,
it's called imagination, man. Expand it.
So
being very comic book guy.
To bring it back to some form of news, the Star Wars Black Series, they did release this week the Gaming Greats Imperial Senate Guard, which looks nothing like the game version.
Yep.
Isn't it basically?
Did you pre-order it though?
Of course I did. I do this every week where I'm known, but I still pre-order the damn thing.
There you go.
It's going to be a GameStop exclusive in America, but it's coming out here, obviously, with our online retailers. And we're going to get it around about Q2 of next year. But the thing that annoyed me is it is literally the red guard without the cape. They've taken away the soft goods and just gave it a paint coloring that looks remotely similar to the game, but doesn't match it whatsoever.
But you're buying it, so they win. You're buying it.
I know.
Stop feeding the problem. You're all the problem.
I think we're spoiled over here because of exactly what you just said. Because we don't have to chase them. I mean, I don't know if you know this, Rektangular, but like over here, our online retailers get us all of the Walgreens, Walmart, GameStop, like all those exclusives. We get them. Like we literally just have to put an order in and we get them. Like there's no kind of chase. There's no, you know. And I think because of that, it makes the figures not less valuable, but just more obtainable. So you'll look at something like that and pull it apart. Oh yeah, I'll order it and pull it apart. Whereas if you're chasing after it, it would be amazing when you got it in hand. I think that's how I would act with it. I know a lot of again, Marvel Legends with some of the store exclusives, and I've kind of looked at them and I've gone, oh, they're not as good as maybe I thought. But if I had spent time actually going from store to store to try to get that, it would be an amazing piece of plastic. Like, not saying that I want to chase after them. Like, I like the fact that we can just pre-order these things. And speaking to some of my friends over in America who have such a difficult time getting hold of something, I like the fact that we have that luxury. But I think that does play into the fact that we can be so disappointed with some things sometimes.
Yeah, trust me, I've definitely noticed it's painful as hell that our Canadian and UK brothers don't have any problem getting this stuff that we're pulling our teeth out trying to get. You know, and it's, you know, I'm glad that you guys, because you guys were in the opposite situation for years where, you know, you were lucky to get anything. And so I'm happy that they've helped you in that regards, but don't make it, you know, make it just as easy over here. You know, if you're going to allow the UK to be able to go online to Hasbro Pulse and pre-order these exclusives, then you need to hold Walgreens to the fire and say, hey, you guys need to put these same figures up on your website so that American collectors can get the stuff too.
100%.
They just put up Nova, and you guys got that thing in April.
Oh yeah, literally at the beginning of the year. Funny enough, I was literally going to mention Nova because I've had him, and it's like it's done. But like you say, it's just come over. And one of the things that I've saw so many people mention about was like, oh, has anyone heard anything about Nova? Has anyone seen Nova? And I'm like, he's been on my shelf for ages. Like what? And then I looked into it, and I was blown away that it was still, even up until recently, just such a hard to come by thing because, as you say, these stores need to be held accountable to an extent as well. I just think with distribution, I think that the fact that they can get things over here and kind of, as you say, onto Hasbro Pulse, like surely there must be some kind of loophole that they could do that over there as well. That, if they're not out within X amount of weeks or something, then they can go onto Hasbro Pulse or something like that.
You would think. Yeah, I don't work for them, but they must have some sort of contract that says if we're gonna carry this, we're gonna do it exclusively in the United States. But yeah, they need to have a caveat that says, okay, if you guys don't have it available by this deadline, then we're gonna take things in our own hands and put it up on Hasbro Pulse US.
I don't personally understand how it's. If only GameStop have got a figure, I don't understand how it's so hard for GameStop to get the figure into the stores. I don't understand the logic. Surely GameStop should be able to put it in their stores, but it's their exclusive. I've never understood how that works. It's so weird when you were to hear it.
So I'll tell you what I am curious to see happen is that obviously, as you pointed out, Rektangular, we had it really hard for quite some time. And it was, I don't feel guilty because of the luxury we have, because I did spend years as a collector, like waiting for my trips over to the States to then just go mad for like 5 days straight, just collecting things, or I'd have people buy me stuff and ship it over. And it was a slog. It really was a proper slog. So to have that luxury of kind of having stuff sent to my door almost immediately now is fantastic. But when it was difficult for us over here, we had Toys R Us. Whereas when it kind of switched, and obviously we got it really easy over here, Toys R Us had obviously already shut down. Same as obviously over there as well. It was only Canada, I think, that kept Toys R Us alive. Now we're having Toys R Us come back. So that comes back next year. And I believe that that's going to be popping up over the States as well, I heard. So I wonder what will happen with like Toys R Us exclusives and whether we're all going to be on the kind of same chase, or whether it will be, because they had quite a few exclusives at one point. It was like a, Toys R Us exclusive, things like the Cyclops and Phoenix 2-pack, like that was a really hard one to get hold of. But
that was back when Toys R Us were like cemented as the number one toy store in the world. Nowadays, now they've gone and come back, I think Hasbro will be very reluctant to give them any form of exclusive until they've earned the stripes back, kind of thing.
Yeah, don't hold your breath, because they were supposed to open in Texas and New Jersey, and both of those failed.
Oh really?
So
really?
It's
you're just Jeffrey on the phone to Hasbro. Can we have an exclusive, please? No, mate. No. Right, but
why do I imagine when you ring Hasbro, it's the Monopoly man as well? No, you did not pass go, Jeffrey.
but yeah, but I think that a lot of it is down to the fact that we don't have those stores. So Walgreens, Walmart, we have kind of affiliated stores, but they're not. There'll be a clause in the contract. So obviously that's why I think we get those exclusives so quickly and so easily. But
it's where you occasionally get Target stuff in Asda, which I love because they're owned by the same people. Go to Asda, like get your food shop, like, oh, what have I got? I got cucumber, lettuce, exclusive action figure. I've got everything I need.
No, it's Walmart. Target.
Is it Walmart?
Asda and Walmart are linked.
It's one of the red logo American shops. I get confused.
B&M sometimes get the Walgreens stuff in, or the Target, because you see the Target logo quite regularly.
I get them around. I get them mixed up. I love them both. I'm just annoyed that we don't get them in the UK. That was actually my wife's favorite thing. We went to New York on a honeymoon. I think the favorite thing was actually that. Why don't we have a Target? I was like, I don't know. Would love a Target.
Over here, Target exclusives are relatively easy to get. GameStop is a close second, but Walmart and Walgreens, oh man, we get pissed every time they say, oh, this is going to be a Walmart exclusive or a Walgreens exclusive. It's like,
Hmm.
really, please stop with this. It's just
See, funny, I
Okay.
got my whole Fantastic Four wave, which were obviously Walgreens exclusive. You know, the infamous Walgreens Fantastic Four, and I got them all in Walgreens when I was out in Florida, and they were relatively easy to pick up, just because I just at the time I just thought, well, this isn't so difficult. This is amazing. Like, went to one, I was Mr. Fantastic. Went to another, there's like a couple of Invisible Women, but now they're so sought after because they were really hard. Like Silver Surfer, I picked up off the shelf and got for like $20, like whatever it was at the time, and it's beyond me how difficult it is now for really kind of not basic characters, but things like Nova that aren't going to be everybody's cup of tea. That, you know, you could sit them on the shelf and they're probably going to sit there for a while because they're not necessarily everyone's kind of favorite character. Whereas at least kind of a casual fan would know who the Fantastic Four are and potentially kind of go in and go, oh, I know that guy, so he's from the comics. Whereas Nova, you wouldn't necessarily know who he was unless you were into your Marvel.
To be fair, you can't go more than 100 feet in Orlando without finding a Walgreens, can you? Let's be honest.
True.
There is one
That is
at the
true.
end of every drive.
That is very true.
Yeah, there's quite a few here, but the problem that happened, I think, is that at first Walgreens was getting a case of the entire one store would each get a case of that figure, and then you'd have just a couple collectors come and pick them up, and then you'd have 4 or 5 of these figures that were not necessarily that popular character, like the black suit Ant-Man would just sit there for years and years and years, and Walgreens would never clearance them. And so they just got to the point where they're like, no, we don't want each store to get a full case. What we're going to do is we're going to send a case to each distribution center, and then we'll send 1 or 2 figures to each store. And so that's what's been happening the past couple of years. And so if you're lucky, your store will get 2 or 3 of that character. And I had to drive when I got back from vacation this summer. That's when Nova started showing up here in Washington State, and I drove to about a dozen different Walgreens to get a bunch of Novas, because I wanted to army build it, number one, and I'm very particular about paint.
Mm-hmm.
So it took like an entire couple of days, for me to find them.
You got him in the end, though, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I ordered. Let's see. I know I ordered at least 2 or 4 from overseas. I think 2 from Hong Kong, and I can't remember if I ordered 2 from Zavi. I think I ordered 2 from Zavi.
Okay.
So
yeah. It's funny as well, though, because some of the older store exclusive things like Namor, for example, are really kind of like the suited one, the one in the black. I think it might have been a Walgreens exclusive. And over here, they're kind of more sought after by collectors because they're not things that are on the shelves. So they're only in people's collection who are collecting at the time. If that makes sense. So, I have him, for example, but I wouldn't part with him for less than retail, at least, because I like him and he's part of my collection, but we don't see him. But the other thing as well is that the whole scalper kind of mentality. So obviously, again, speaking to friends in America, you see how, they'll land in the store and they'll be gone before kind of, 1 minute into the store opening, or sometimes before the store's even open, that they're gone, they're cleared out. Whereas we don't have that here because people haven't really clicked onto it. So we're just starting to really get those figures in stores again. So we were talking last week, there are a number of stores over here that are stocking Marvel Legends, for example, and Black Series. And they're sitting there on the shelves. Like, people aren't going in and clearing them out. They are there. Like, the upgraded, was it the upgraded Spider-Man suit that came out recently, wasn't it? You could literally walk into the toy store and they're just there, just all there. But yet when they dropped on Hasbro Pulse, everyone went mad for them and it was sold out within like half an hour. Whereas you walk into the toy store and they're just all lined up on the shelf. That's where I got mine from. I was like, oh, Hasbro Pulse is sold out in 30 minutes. Walked into the Smiths.
Is there a
John?
huge price difference between what they charge in the store and what they charge online?
No,
Like,
not particularly.
okay.
No.
20.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a store over here called HMV, which has started stocking Marvel Legends, and they've been renowned over the years for overcharging. They are renowned for it, but they've been charging $21.99 in British pounds for the Fantastic Four stuff, which is the same price as what Comics and Cocktails is charging you. So I mean, they've not been charging any. It's been the same price both online and in store, really, hasn't it? Even with the Spider-Man, I think Spider-Man at
Smiths.
I mean, how much was he there? Can you remember?
$22.99 maybe.
So that again is about standard.
Yeah,
the Marvel
about
Retro
right.
Collection is actually the same price in HMV as it is everywhere else as well.
Yeah, so
Just chucking a little bit of 3.3. Yeah.
You like your 3 core inches. Every conversation, Ryan.
Because I have to, because I refuse to let this bloody 6-inch whatever catastrophe wave thing. It's like everything's got to be Marvel Legends. No, it doesn't. Star Wars was just fine. It was fine.
Well,
you
it's
had
fine,
everything.
Ryan.
You can still display your figures with other scales. It's fine.
Well, at the end of today's video, when we finish recording, stick around because I've got some ideas for next year for us to make some videos together. So stay around, mate.
Is it going to be Black Series versus Vintage?
No. I'm obviously you know that I'm looking to expand upon my vintage and like proper old school vintage as well, Star Wars stuff. So I'm going to need your help.
I can show you the world.
Exactly.
Amazing. It's funny though, bringing it back to price points that there's a huge price difference in some of the figures, like especially the Hasbro Pulse like exclusives and like the Haslabs as well, even. And one of the biggest complaints from like the UK collectors is how much higher the price point is, because 9 out of 10 times we'll see the thing kind of announced and they will have a dollar price to it. And then people kind of work it out, a pound to dollar and all the rest of it. And then it's announced in the pound and it's like a third, like the third more expensive. And people are like, why? Like how, like prime example of things like, the MODOK World Domination. Yeah, like the World Domination kit, like the Haslab Sentinel, for example, and people kind of, so there's you can't please everyone, you know what I mean? It's, we pay a little bit extra, but we have that luxury that we can just pick stuff up, so everyone's going to be upset somehow. If it's not 3/4 inch, Ryan is upset. It's like, it's just be excited about the characters.
Do you know what? No, do you know what? The reason I'm always doing it up is because as a channel, we are the Geek Week in Review, and I feel like it's always there's so much focus on that scale now. I just need to. It's like when I bring up Transformers, it's because I'm adding a nice big, sort of. It's adding variety to it. I'm just making sure that we're catering to everyone.
Look at these 6-inch figures that got delivered today.
Still waiting for mine to ship. I got my Excalibur set is on the way, but I'm still waiting for those to ship.
See, now ironically, the Excalibur set, which is like predominantly a British team, we're still waiting on. Like that was, you would think that they would have come out over here like earlier, so that it's your British team.
I can do 6-inch Star Wars. Look, see. I could do 6-inch Star Wars. I don't know why you guys are moaning.
The reason I brought this up is because you mentioned about paint apps. Now I'm the same. Like, I really hate kind of the mixed matched kind of paints and stuff like that. And when you do order online, obviously you don't have that opportunity to kind of go in. And I've seen a lot of people complaining about the paint application on this set, but I like from looking at it in the box, I haven't got it out yet, obviously, only arrived today, but I can see zero problems. Like, I'm really pleased, like really, really pleased. The funniest one that got me though was people complaining about this, about how the X is mix matched, but obviously it's the ab crunch. There was like loads of people complaining about the fact that the logo's not matching up, and then some sort of smart ass just kind of went, just click the ab crunch and it all goes into place. So
that's what I got today. Does anybody mind? Has everyone seen Ghostbusters now?
No.
Are you gonna see a Rektangular?
You can spoil it. I don't care.
That's
sure,
fine.
positive.
I saw the original Ghostbusters in the theater I think in '84, I think when it came out. And I loved it as a kid, but it's not something. For the most part, I don't get sucked into nostalgia. Like I loved Robotech and Thundercats growing up, but I don't feel the need to collect them. I'm glad I don't, because I would just there's no way I could afford it.
No.
So Hasbro recently told us about the new 2-pack that's coming out, and obviously we got that the other day, and mine arrived yesterday, and I'm stupidly psyched by it. It's the best thing ever.
That is cool.
Families that bust together, which is the weirdest tagline I've ever heard in my life, but yeah.
Is that pose? Who set that pose up? Was like this?
Did you see the thing? I went back and watched the Hasbro live stream that nobody realized they made, and they actually made a proper 3D diorama to go with that. That whole the remade the farm and everything to do just for that photo. Somebody at Hasbro made that entire diorama just for that shot.
Wow! And then they've just cropped it out anyway.
And then they've cropped it all out. Yeah. Because a load of people say, just send me the background with the.
It just looks like, to me, like when I look at that picture, it's kind of that weird uncle that you didn't want to invite to birthday party. It's like that.
Oh no!
It's like, it is. It's like, oh, you're doing good. Like it's just
you just ruined Ghostbusters.
But it is but hold that picture
creepy
up again.
Creepy Uncle Egon.
Hold it up, so because look, it's just that. Why is his arms on it? Why? It's even the finger as hello.
It's the most touching moment of the whole movie.
No, I know, and no, it's a beautiful scene, but why? I just think there are some incredible, absolutely next level figure photographers out there. Like what some people do with. I enjoy taking pictures and I enjoy kind of messing around and stuff, but I'm nowhere near exactly articulated comic book art. There we go, right on the shirt. But there are some absolute next level photographers out there that know all the tricks and so when they have a pack like this that is sort of so significant to the film and so to have just this kind of pose, it just seems like a real shame. Like.
The Ghostbusters one is good. I tell you what, though, that head sculpt. Oh my god, no! The head sculpt
is bad. Is it really?
I wish they'd have just gone with because the rest of the plastic is like see-through purple plastic. I wish they'd have just made the sculpt look like him, but still do the purple rather than paint it. They didn't need to paint it. They should have left him as a translucent purple ghost. It would have looked so much better. But the paint absolutely aren't cracking.
Get yourself some acetone.
Yep.
I had to get this bad boy. The
American I knew you were going to get that.
The American Wilted look. Yeah, you know me and my horror. I had to pick him up. He is absolutely massive in this box. The box is huge.
It's bigger than I thought it was.
The box is huge, man. Yeah, but I'm so glad I've got him.
That's really cool.
ACBA, Simon Hill did a really good photo of that picture recently.
Simon's so I'm glad you mentioned Simon. I speak to Simon quite a bit anyway, but Simon is some of the stuff he did recently with Miles Morales with making him invisible by the shutter speed and obviously pulling the figure out in time, just absolutely crisp, just brilliant photos. And when you look at them, you're scrolling through, you would think they were photoshopped because of the way that they're done. But you obviously see the way that he does it with the shutter speed, and it's not a simple trick, but it's if you know your craft, it's obtainable. And it's just that to me was a real kind of a really good example of how things that you can do on the computer are obtainable within the camera if you use them correctly. And it's just if you've not seen them already, check them out. They're really, really cool photos. He's got kind of, I think it's Prowler or Lizard or someone in the apartment. That's Prowler, I think, in the apartment, and he's got Miles Morales behind the couch. But it's one photograph, but Miles is invisible in it. It's amazing, and it's all just it's all to do with shutter speed. It's just and he always one thing I really admire about Simon is he always puts all of his different sides, like his B side, his C side, so you can see how the look was obtained. He does videos, he's on TikTok and that stuff. He always shows everything. And when I first kind of got my camera, me and Simon had quite a lot of chats and about sort of what to look for and stuff like that. And as I said, I'm nowhere near the level of certain people, but he's such a good guy and so open with it all that if you do, it's Plastic Snaps is his Instagram handle. If you don't already, go and check him out. Give him a follow.
Even that simple one he did the other day with just the Spiderman, and he put "Don't leave us, Mr. Parker" or whatever, and he sort of did like a what could be of the new movie. That was amazing, and it was just such a simple shot, but it looks so good. He builds the world around it, which is why I love as well. He builds the world up. He doesn't just make a scene with a couple of figures in it. He puts things in the background, and it looks like a real living world that he's done. Crazy.
And that's the thing, when you've got photographers out there like that can do so much, why you're having these kind of awkward uncle photos? It's just, I just think it's a missed opportunity. Because
I'm really surprised that Hasbro don't reach out to people like yourself and Simon and more people like that can make these awesome shots. I mean, how cool would it be if they sent you a figure that's brand new? That's like, you like how they sent me Masterminds review.
Yeah.
Imagine if they sent that to someone like Simon, what he would have done with it.
Oh yeah.
The artwork he could have made for him is insane. They could have paid him to use that artwork as well, is what I'm trying to say. They could even use the artwork, and it would have been amazing. And that would be an opportunity for Simon as well.
I don't want to speak for other people, but I think a lot of people as well, they're into their kind of, at least they're kind of like the articulated comic book stuff. That they would do something like that for free or for the price of the figure or something like that, because very, very little, very few of them do it as a job. It's a hobby and all that kind of stuff. And I'm pretty sure that there's quality photographers out there that would do it for the sake of being able to say, look, that's my photo on the box kind of thing, just for that exposure and stuff. So, I mean, it's such a missed opportunity. I mean, Hasbro did do it for a while with the kind of Hasbro Toy Pick hashtag, and they were showing photographs at conventions and stuff like that, but that kind of died out a little bit. I've not seen that for a while.
Even the hashtags are kind of dying a little bit. There's only a few people really keeping it alive.
Yeah.
The hashtag don't get half as many hits as it used to do.
No, which is a shame. Let's talk Marvel Legends quickly, because obviously we kind of migrated over there. There was only 2 announcements for Marvel Legends, I think, this week, which just kind of dropped out of nowhere. I had absolutely, I mean, I knew that they were coming because it was an obvious choice, but I hadn't picked up on anything. I hadn't heard anyone. People like Rektangular hadn't shared anything, hinting towards them. So I was kind of like, I was a little bit sort of taken sideways, but it was obviously the Hawkeye and the Kate Bishop from the Disney Plus show. And they're only the renders. Someone commented on my Instagram post, because I shared it as soon as it went up, and somebody commented, I'm going to laugh, saying, Jeremy Render. I just thought that was brilliant. I was like, that comment wins the internet. Like, it was like, oh, Jeremy Render. And I was like, that is amazing.
When I say stuff like that, I get told off. But when someone else posts on the internet,
mate, right? I thought it was brilliant. It just cracked me up. I literally laughed out loud. My wife was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm just on Instagram." She's like, "You're laughing out loud at your Instagram." I was like, "No, but listen to this." And I said it, and she just kind of looked at me as in, "What?" But yeah, I chuckled.
I think Hasbro, because of people like me, Hasbro, as soon as they have a digital render of something, they're like, "Okay, put it out." Because if it gets into a computer system, I'm probably going to find out about it.
Yeah.
Nerd Zoic did that on his Sunday live stream. He had a little boo-boo. He was having a little drinky poos as he was doing his live stream, and I think he had a bit too many. And he sat there in his live stream, and he got the email through, and he just blurted it out on screen. And he went, "Maybe I shouldn't have done that." So I kind of knew it was coming. I was like, "Really? 2-pack?" And then all of a sudden, boom! It's announced.
I must admit, though, like you mentioned there about things being in computer systems and stuff, but like in the early days for me as a collector anyway, they were some of the things that really kept me in and really got me in, like, involved. I mean, I've collected for years and years, but I fondly remember kind of like the code names coming out and then kind of logging onto certain channels and stuff to read what people were speculating, or this could mean that and stuff. And that for me as a collector was something that was part of the hobby, if you like. So I think that it's a double-edged sword. Getting the renders out as soon as possible is great because people jump on it and they're excited. But you also take away that chase. You also take away that speculation and that opportunity to talk about it.
Amazon still do it, and I love it because Amazon will just put up some listing in some deep thing from like Amazon Italy, and it'll be like SWBS Aqua, and then you just get masses of people on Yak Face going, "What could Aqua mean?" I love it. I love the chase.
Well, it's funny you mention that as Amazon, because I picked up on 2 that were on Amazon Italy, I think they were, and they were
There you go.
referring to Spider-Man characters, and one of them was
Oh, yeah.
clearly like a Doctor Octopus, and one of them was like a 2-pack or something. Can't remember now. It's on my Instagram, but we haven't seen those figures surface yet. So I'm still kind of like, I'm still speculating about what they could be. But I'm assuming now that we've seen the No Way Home trailer, one of them is going to be Doctor Octopus. Like, pretty obvious.
I feel so boring a lot of the time because I don't do any of that.
Right.
You know what?
Ryan,
It's-
actually, Hasbro announced those exclusives, and Ryan was like, "What's going on?"
it sounds stupid, but like I guess I'm boring the old fashioned, but I actually just prefer to see an official announcement. I've seen a couple of the posts on Yak Face when they do like the SQ numbers and stuff like that. But like, I don't know, that doesn't do anything for me. I don't know why. It just like, I like to see I like to get excited by seeing a card back with a picture of something upcoming, or like Hasbro or something, or like a direct company going like, here's the product. Like that, I kind of am boring, I guess. I think I'm just the beige of collectors.
Shall I tell you what it does? It might be, I don't know whether it's my age, but for me, the whole kind of the what they called SKU codes, or whatever they're called, SKU codes, or the speculation on that like people at Rektangular share. For me, it's reminiscent of looking at the back of a box and seeing the figures. If that makes sense. Because when I was a kid, I would go into Toys R Us and I would pick up a Donatello, and that's all that I'd see. There would just be the Donatello. Turn that box around and you would see all these figures, and it's like, there are all these figures that you could get. And some of the toy brands even did like silhouettes of figures that would come in potentially in the future. And that for me is what this is it's kind of that kind of, well, we know we're getting Iron Man, but we've also got all of these kind of potential, what they're going to be. And I think that's what it is for me.
I love the card backs as well, but I don't think of them as the same at all.
No, but see, with Marvel Legends, for example, now you get a wave come out, and obviously on the back of the card they show you the rest of the wave. Well, you've either bought it as a wave, or you've pre-ordered them, or we've seen the renderings or the images or whatever. So there's no kind of real reveal there. So it is that kind of the idea of what could potentially come for me. That's why I get excited about it anyway. But bringing it back to those Hawkeye pictures, I mean, they look great, but there was no indication of whether they're the 2-pack, whether they're part of a wave, whether they're exclusives, whether they're
Walgreens exclusive.
According to the email that Nerd Zoe clearly got, it was a 2-pack. That is the information I have heard so far, and nobody's denied it. But I don't see it being a wave personally. I do see it being a 2-pack. That would make sense. What else is that they could put with it other than Spider-Man No Way Home figures? That's the only thing I could think of that they could put with it.
Yeah,
even a wave has to cross over with Spider-Man. Everything has to cross over. Rektangular, if you don't mind me asking, just because I'm genuinely curious, like, because I'm completely naive to the world of like SQU hunting stuff. Like, how do you go about like sort of finding out the information? I don't know if this is like a question where you'll get like assassinated if you reveal, but like, just genuinely, like, as someone, but because if anyone's listening or watching, like who like me is really sort of naive to these things, it'd just be really interesting to know.
Yeah,
Rektangular. I really don't even know where you'd even find that.
Rektangular leaves the conversation. See you later, Ryan.
Well, in years past, I had people who worked at different retail stores like Walmart and Target, Walgreens, Toys R Us. Toys R Us was a big one. And in fact, one of my main sources worked at Toys R Us, and he would go onto their database and look up, see what was coming, and usually 6 months to a year ahead of time, that those SKUs would be loaded, and at first they would have the actual product name of the characters, or at least it would be abbreviated, and so you could figure it out. And then pretty soon Hasbro caught on, or Toys R Us caught on, or both, whoever, and they started codenaming everything.
Okay, so this is where like the Aqua and stuff like you were saying it comes from.
Exactly. So like in recent years, they had pizza toppings for Spider-Man Wave.
Yep.
And stuff like that. So you know, we will know possibly what the UPC is and possibly how many characters are in that wave. It's usually between 6 and 8, but everything's code named now. So, you know, trying to speculate what it is near impossible.
The pizza man. It's funny you say the pizza man, the Spider-Man, because that one, I remember everyone kind of receiving their wave over here, and everyone was kind of sharing what they had. Like, you know, oh, I've got anchovies, and it's and there was like all these different boxes that had all the pizza toppings, which was really cool.
That was the best thing ever when it arrived and it said Spider-Man pepperoni on the box. That was just amazing.
I can't remember which one of your videos it was, Rektangular, but there was one that's sticking in my head, and I'm sure it was. I think it might have been the recent Iron Man wave one with like the modular and the stealth Iron Man and stuff. And I remember when that first kind of leaked, and I'm sure it was a video that you did on that wave, like way back before it came out. And I remember just getting really excited watching it and just sort of thinking, oh, because I've got loads of Iron Man, I've got like a whole haul of armor, and I was like, oh, I'm going to get this one and it's going to fill that gap, or I've got a custom of that one so I can get rid of that. And then being really hopeful that we were going to get those figures. But that's just me. I'm a bit of a geek when it comes to things like that. I get really excited about the possibility of what could be.
Yeah, I mean, if you're somebody who is just coming into collecting, I think my videos might be more useful, because you're on the fence about, let's say, before we got the Walgreens exclusive Silver Centurion, being like, oh, I really want a Silver Centurion. Should I buy the Toy Biz one? And you know, if you know we're getting a Hasbro one, then you know, why waste your money on a Toy Biz one?
Exactly.
That's very true. Very true.
Yeah, and they are replacing so many of those old Toy Biz figures now. You know, where they really are looking dated on the shelves. So many of them are getting updates and upgrades, like a War Machine. That retro kind of deluxe War Machine, for example, is one that sticks out to me, because so many people were chasing that comic book accurate War Machine, but in the Toy Biz version. And it was just, when you saw the Hasbro one, there was just such a difference between them. So it's that's the one.
The old Dave Vonner. Yep.
There you go.
Hey,
that's the
that.
one. That's the one. Have you got a? Yeah.
And not only are they replacing all the old Toy Biz ones, but they're replacing all the old Hasbro Iron Man figures, which they have been needing to do. I mean, most of those figures, if you dig out the Iron Mans from the 2-packs, they are so tiny and scrawny.
Oh, like, yeah.
There's,
yeah.
You know, there's no way.
They did.
I mean, and they've made Marvel Legends bigger and bigger and bigger. They're almost 7-inch scale now.
Yeah, no, they are much bigger now. There was a Iron Man. What was it? I think it was the Mark III or the Mark II or something. No, not the Mark II. Maybe the Mark III that they recently re-released, and I had the old version next to it, and they are literally like a good sort of inch difference in height. It's absolutely ridiculous, but yeah. But no, I'm excited for the Hawkeye 2-pack. I'm enjoying the show. Have you guys been? You obviously, Ryan and Sorrell, you've been watching it. Rectang, you've been watching Hawkeye?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I haven't really been that big of a fan of the previous Marvel Disney Plus films or shows, but this one, and maybe because my expectations were so low, I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I obviously we had episode 3 drop, which I just thought was amazing. I thought it took it to a whole nother level. So to see those kind of figure reveals has got me really excited. Obviously we got our first real look at Echo, you know, what she's capable of. And she is a badass, let's be honest. She in that episode was really, really good. I love how they're dealing with the deaf and the hearing aid and all that kind of stuff. Like, I think that's really clever. And I had subtitles on mine when I was watching it, just because I was putting the baby to sleep. So I had the volume kind of turned down, and I had to stop it and rewatch it without the subtitles on because of all the subtitles that are in it. And I was really confused. Like, I wasn't getting the full effect of the show. So I actually stopped it. But yeah, I'm loving it. I've got anyone want to say anything about that quickly?
Yeah, obviously Alec Cox She was amazing playing the character of Echo. She's actually deaf in real life as well, which is amazing. She's also an amputee. Wow. So someone like myself who is also an amputee, that character hit quite hard for me because I don't remember being an amputee in the comics. So they've kept that in as a part of her character now, which is awesome. And for one of the first times ever, I've got to say I love people like The Rock and that, but obviously seeing a proper amputee actress playing an amputee role is amazing. Normally, it's an able-bodied person with a CGI prosthetic that looks atrocious on, a bit like The Rock in Skyscraper. You know what I'm saying?
What was so funny is that when my girlfriend and I were watching it, she thought it was a fake. It was a CGI limb, and she was like, "Oh, that looks ridiculous."
She's got the exact same prosthetic as me. I actually have the same one, which is amazing. She's just got a different colored top.
Are you going to show us?
Yeah. So she's got the exact same prosthesis as me. It's the black pole. She's just got a black top on hers, but we've got the exact same leg design, which I think is amazing.
That is cool. That is really cool.
The same exact prosthetic.
It was when you messaged me and you were like, "Dude, she's got the same leg as me." Yeah. I was like, that's incredible.
That's the first thing I noticed. It was the foot and the actual pole and things. I'm like, she's got the same leg as me. That's the first thing I said when I saw her in that boxing ring in the TV series.
Right, if you could just stand up now and just show us some spinning kicks and stuff like that. Yeah, but she was lethal with it. Like, let's be honest. Like, she's, and that was all really like the stunt work that she, like, hats off to her. She's absolutely incredible. Like, she was a formidable foe for Clint Barton in that particular episode. But yeah, no, I love it. I think it's a fantastic show.
We need to talk about. I know Ryan hates it when we try and connect worlds together, but that hand on the shoulder,
it's Kingpin.
Uncle, it's Kingpin.
Hands down. If you're familiar with the comic books, then obviously you know that Kingpin.
Fair, I'm happy for it to Kingpin, especially if it's Vincent D'Onofrio's interpretation of Kingpin.
Well, you should say that. Isn't it? Yeah, his laugh apparently is the same as what Vincent D'Onofrio's laugh. People were comparing the laughter soundtrack.
I'll be honest, I watched Daredevil as much for Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin as I did for watching Charlie Cox's Daredevil. Like, that was equal reasons why I watched it. I can't think of many things where I watched it as much for the villain or a side character as I did for the main. But I just think that he did it so phenomenally well, and I think that's the most I've wanted. Something to cross over, actually, because me and crossovers, but I love a crossover. I get sick of tired of being crossed over with Spider-Man, but this is just one I genuinely really hope is true because he was. I need more of it. I need more of him playing Kingpin.
I definitely think they're going to revamp the story. I don't think the story is going to be the same, but I think the actors might come over. I mean, can you imagine them trying to recast Daredevil now? People are so know it as. Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio was just the equal part for Kingpin. Even I forgot his name, but the guy that played Punisher from Walking Dead, he is the Punisher now for me. He was a spot on Punisher. I think if they tried to recast those roles now, they'd be hell on. I think they should bring those actors over because they were the saving graces of the Netflix program. Was the actors that they chose? They were grounded, realistic enough that they could fit into the MCU very easily.
Right, even on Iron Fist.
But yeah, maybe that. I didn't like Iron Fist and I didn't like Jessica Jones. I'm probably the only person that didn't like Jessica Jones, but I don't think that's necessarily the actress or actor's fault. I think that could have been just the writing in general. But the actors themselves looked like the parts. They looked phenomenal as the roles, in my opinion.
See, I like Charlie Cox as an actor, but I did not like him as Matt Murdock. He does not look like Matt Murdock at all.
No,
I couldn't stand the fact that the guy doesn't own a razor. Like, Matt Murdock is not that clean, or he's clean shaven most of the time, and like Charlie Cox has a permanent 5 o'clock shadow. Like, how are you going to show up to court looking like you just rolled out of bed? It's like,
very true. Yeah, I'm kind of on the same opinion as you there. Like, I did grow to like him when I first started watching it. I was like, that's not Matt Murdock for me. But I got so engrossed in the show that he just kind of became Matt Murdock for me, if that makes sense. And I'm
he's no Ben Affleck.
Yes. Ben Affleck was possibly the perfect. No, he wasn't. I'm only joking. But yeah, but very similar to that. Like obviously when Ben Affleck was announced as Daredevil, I was kind of like, this doesn't work. Like this isn't Daredevil. And I'm a bit reluctant to kind of go back and read Daredevil comic books now. Because I don't want it to ruin it for me, because I've kind of grown into that Charlie Cox as Daredevil kind of fandom, if you like. But I think there's definitely going to be crossovers. It would be really bizarre for them to, because obviously they're talking about bringing Charlie Cox back for Spider-Man. That's a hot rumor. And it would be really bizarre for them to have this opportunity to kind of cross over Kingpin as well and not do it. That's
just be prepared and get scared if we hear that Happy Hogan's got a brother that knows a lawyer. Then be scared because Ben Affleck's coming.
yeah. Can you imagine? But no, I thought it was a really good episode. What I did find, and I got to mention it because I just think it's how the bizarre world of the internet works. So obviously Marvel released kind of like a VT behind the scenes, and they were talking about the live action role play scene. Did you guys catch that little VT they did?
Yeah.
And obviously heavily involved in that VT is a character dressed as comic book accurate Hawkeye. And so obviously I screenshotted it and shared it, and it's had something stupid like 5,000 likes or something like that. And I was just really disappointed that I didn't pick up on it in the show, like when it was actually taking place. And the actual guy that is that character, like that's actually in that suit in that show, is on my Instagram and messaged me and was like, dude, that's me. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. He's like, no, for real, that's me. Like, and sent me other pictures. And he was like, it was cut. Like they filmed it, and he works on the show as a grip, like, you know, on the cameras and stuff, and had the opportunity to be that in that suit and took it because obviously it was an amazing opportunity. And I was like, mate, that's really shit. Like, you're probably the only person in the world to dress up as comic book accurate Hawkeye in the MCU kind of bubble. And then they cut it. And he was like, yeah, I was a bit gutted. But I just thought it was really cool the way that the internet kind of works, that I'd seen this thing that Marvel had cut, but then showed us, and then I shared it. And then the guy that's actually in the suit messaged me and was like, yeah, that's me. Like, but it was cool. It was a cool costume. And it was definitely a comic book accurate Hawkeye, like with the tassels and the H and the wings and everything. But then obviously in episode 3 that we see Kate Bishop kind of sketch it, don't we? And she sort of says, oh, here's your costume. And I think that was, although it was a kind of a cheap laugh, I don't think it was as cool of as an Easter egg as if they had put the character in the live action role play scene. I think that would have had a much bigger pop if people had sort of, even if just for a split second, kind of caught him in the background. The amount of people that would have shared that and kind of jumped on that, I think that would have been a much better Easter egg. But either way,
I mean, Jeremy Renner just was turned around and was like, awful costume. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Or even pushing it even further, where they force him to do the live action role play and they give him that costume, like, this is what you have to wear, and he kind of walks out reluctantly. Kind of, it would have been very similar to the kind of Halloween-esque WandaVision costumes, you know. But I don't know.
So,
but
what episode will be on this week? Well, this episode 3.
4.
3. No, it wasn't. It's 3.
Oh, what you're saying? What is?
No. What we've just had episode 3, haven't we? We've just had episode 3.
Yeah, because we had the two launched the first.
Yeah.
2 came out on launch, didn't it? And then we had the first one.
Yeah.
So we've only got.
It will be episode 4.
So we've only got 4 more episodes, 3 more episodes.
3.
3.
Yeah.
And they haven't even introduced Florence Pugh yet.
No,
she's in this. We know she's in it.
Yeah,
she's not even been in it yet, so that's going to be interesting. How much of a part she has
post credits. That's it.
Mate, if it's just post credits, I riot.
It won't. I
want to see her and Kate Bishop go like toe to toe, and then like become unlikely friends and take out the bad guy. That's how I see it. Yeah, and then obviously Hawkeye handing over the bow to Kate Bishop at the end because she's lost hers. He hands over the bow and he opens the door and it's Christmas and he goes over to his family. That's my ending.
Interestingly, though,
there hasn't been after credit scenes, right?
No, it hasn't.
Yeah.
No, not yet. But interestingly, you say that we've got 3 episodes left, but that render that we had of the figures obviously shows him in the kind of not traditional, but the modern purple kind of Hawkeye costume with the purple. You know what everybody kind of wanted to see him in the MCU in the first place. But we obviously haven't seen him in that yet. I mean, Kate Bishop's got her kind of purple archery outfit, but we haven't seen him. So
was this just based on concept art though? Sometimes figures are based on just concepts.
If they don't put him in that purple suit, I'm going to be well annoyed.
There's a lot of complaining about him having long sleeves, but in the show takes place at Christmas, so I doubt that they're going to put him in short sleeves.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, and sometimes people just need to shut up and get on with their lives. There's a limit.
I would be happy with any of the. I'd even be happy with the purple T-shirt with the bullseye symbol on it and the hand wraps that he wore in the comic book for a little while as well. Like just any kind of comic book-esque costume. It's his swan song, isn't it? It's the last that we're going to kind of potentially see him as this character. So they've got to put him in something that kind of gives us a send off. But I don't know.
Hasbro was smart. They would pack in. He would have interchangeable arms, and make everybody happy.
Easy done.
No, because then they'll be like, "Oh, but this one doesn't have gloves." Well, they are, don't I?
Ryan, it's the world of 6-inch figures. If we haven't got our interchangeable heads, hands, effects, and weapons, then we are not happy. It's
a very precious community.
And that's my biggest complaint about the Black Series is that you're paying as much for Marvel Legends and you're not getting alternate heads, you're not getting alternate hands. They're spending, obviously they're spending all the budget on unique sculpts, but I think at some point, like my friend Josh Chaney from They're Not Dolls, he's not going to buy Black Series. He's not going to buy Black Series anymore because they're taking away articulation and they're not giving you alternate heads and hands from other product lines that are giving you for the same price.
Yeah, I mean a Jedi, for example, like that screams interchangeable heads. Like you get like a Obi-Wan Kenobi from Episode 2, for example, the younger Ewan McGregor. Throw in a handful of interchangeable heads, and you've essentially got that big fight scene, haven't you? Where
I've heard a rumor a lot of people have got spare Ponda Baba heads laying around, so
they're not going to do that because then they can't sell you that figure in 6 months' time. That's why, Jacob.
Yeah.
Or just throw in generic heads then. Do you know what I mean? Like literally, like the Shield pack that they're doing.
Marvel have so much they have such a back catalogue of characters, so many different versions of each character. They can throw in the heads because they can afford to. I think if Black Series started doing it, they would run out of ideas pretty darn quick.
Well, at least with hands, you've got like a character with a gun gripping hand or a saber holding hand, and then like you go to pose it and it just looks stupid when it's constantly in this pose.
Or even just like a force hand. Do you know what I mean? Like you look at the Marvel Legends, you've got all the different kind of, especially with like Shang-Chi and stuff like that, you've got all these different types of hands, and you've got these open palm hands. Like even just throw in one or two of them in. Like I had the Ewan McGregor actually, and when I sold them off, and people wanted that where I'd swapped one of the hands out, and it was him essentially holding his, and they wanted that version because of the hand, and I was like, dude, it's like a female figure Marvel Legend hand, like, and they were like, I don't care, like I want that hand. I was like, I got like a box of them, like if you, but you're right. Just even if they just threw in a couple of generic heads, like just general kind of. Give them a ponytail, give them a plait, give them a braid or whatever, and just throw in some generic heads so that you can essentially, even just for photography, just kind of mix those heads around and sort of have different Jedis, or go into the comic books or go into the novels and stuff, and just kind of give us those characters. I think that they would sell to a wider market anyway. That's my.
Did you see that Disney, for the mobile game, is it Galaxy of Heroes they call it? For Star Wars, they recently gave Darth Talon a bit of a makeover. Did you see it?
I did see that actually. I saw someone share about that, but
yeah,
they
definitely
weren't happy.
No, well, I don't know. I saw a lot of people saying that it looked good, but obviously it's very different from what it obviously used to be. But that could be their way of changing her up so that they can release her as a figure and reuse the character. Maybe I think obviously they are just going to make that 3D render.
Over-sexualize her, then no.
Well, no, because the original one, she was literally in just a loincloth with a bra.
Yeah.
And like now, in this new one, she had like more armor, like more realistic armor. She had like gloves and things on, and it looked good. To be fair, it's like when the redid. Yeah, I mean,
they put more clothes on her than taking them off. If that's it.
Yeah. But I thought it looked okay. I mean, it looked better than the original. Let's be honest.
It's all right. Some creepy fans will just customize it and make it.
So many people have made
weird
the
and
custom
awkward.
one anyway using the Princess Leia body. I've seen so many people do that and customize it. But I mean, if they change it up, and actually they could then now that they've changed her a little bit, they could use her now. It's a bit like the slave Leia thing. They'd have to change her a little bit to get her past the censors, I'm sure. But
there's a whole community of customizers as well that kind of do the bigger busts and do the kind of. I don't get it myself. I'm not like I'm not knocking
weird.
anyone for their work, but I don't get it. Like I don't have a huge complaint if the backside of my figure isn't as plump as or if their bust isn't as but there are some people that really complain about those details, but that to me is
if Shartimus Prime was listening, he just tuned out to you right now.
Oh, I know that he's one of the ones, but he doesn't like. But I'm talking about some of these 3D printers and that they're literally
making them. I know.
I did see someone who made a Ray the other day, and it was really. I'll be honest, I found it really sort of tasteless. It was really kind of.
I thought you were going to say sexy.
No,
made it really.
They'd made
sexy,
it like so she had like boobs bigger than a human's head, and like in a weird pose and like no clothes on like an emperor's throne. I was just like. Sorry, did we watch the same film? Like, I feel like you watched the other kind of version of that film online, and like it was just, I don't know. I find that really weird when people over sexualize like these characters. Like I've seen people do that with xenomorphs as well. Like it's an alien that bursts out of people's chests. What are you doing?
Does this mean we're getting old if we're complaining about too much boobs? Does this mean we're getting old?
I want to know about
too much bosom.
This xenomorph with a massive schlong, like
it's never a male one. It's always a woman
on
one.
The end, like
that would be entertaining, but no, it's always the women's form. Like it's always a bit creepy and a bit sleazy
gross.
for me.
Right, let's bring it back to Spider-Man No Way Home. It's got to be done. We talk about it every week, Rektangular, because obviously everyone is talking about it. It's everywhere. But the biggest news that happened, obviously, this week was Spider Monday or Cyber Monday, as they Spider Monday, sorry, which was Cyber Monday that they kind of coined as Spider Monday. Are you getting tickets to go and see it, or are you on the hype train or not?
No, I'm not in any hurry. I try to avoid trailers and spoilers as much as possible. Unfortunately, I already know there's all these villains from previous films in it and stuff like that, which I don't really care about. I'm not a big. I like Spider-Man, but from the comics and that's about it. I'm not. I was big into when I was little. There was a live action Spider-Man show that I loved.
Mm-hmm.
It was on TV, and that guy, the guy who played that Spider-Man, actually became a judge in Australia.
Really?
Yeah.
Spider Judge.
Can you imagine getting like sentenced by a Spider-Man, just literally about to knock the hammer? Weren't you Spider-Man on that TV show? Guilty. Just that's not good. But no, the one thing I was going to say is that obviously it was not going into spoilers or anything like that, because I respect that you avoid that and that. But Marvel have really been pushing it out. Like literally every day there seems to be a new teaser or a new TV spot or a new character poster or a new, something or other that's got something to do with Spider-Man on it. But what really strikes me as weird is that we're getting it 2 days earlier than you guys. Like we're getting it on the 15th over here in the UK, and obviously it comes out on the 17th over in the States, which I just think is like massively insulting for the biggest sort of hyped up film of this year at least. Yeah, we're going to give you a whole 2 days to kind of spoil it on the internet for everyone. Like it's
the same happened though with Endgame. Endgame launched in America 2 days before it came over here. This is revenge for Endgame.
Oh, quite possibly.
Revenge
quite
game.
possibly.
I am going to take great pleasure.
But,
No, I won't.
Again, with that said, Cyber Monday or Spider Monday as they called it.
Yeah.
Is when all the tickets
carry on talking, sorry.
All the tickets went on sale. Now I didn't have any problem getting tickets. Like for me, it was very easy picking up tickets. Whereas obviously over in America, like all I saw was people posting about how like the websites had crashed and like no one could get tickets. And
admittedly, Cineworld's website was dying. It wasn't wasn't for due to lack of tickets. It was just there was a lot of people all at the same time trying to book. But yeah, the Cineworld website had a bit of trouble, but I managed to get some for the 15th at 10:30 a.m. So I've got the day off work because I'm sad like that, and I'm going for the first showing of the day. But
See,
yeah, I had no problem.
I had that debate. I was laying there and I was booking them, and I was like, "Do I go for the first showing?" But I'm actually going to the last showing of the day, so I will see it on the day it comes out. But I'm not changing any of my plans. I was like, you know what, I'm good. But my oldest son, really wants to see it, and so I booked tickets for me on the Wednesday, and then I booked tickets for us to see it on the Saturday. And I told him, I was like, "Oh, I've got tickets to see it on the Saturday," and he was like, "Oh yeah, oh, brilliant! No, I can't wait. I'm so excited to tell all my friends." I said, "Oh, and I'm going to see it on the Wednesday when it comes out." And the look on his face was like, it was seriously, it was like, "But you said we were going to see it together." I was like, "Yeah, but we are seeing it together." He was like, "But you're seeing it before me." I was like, "Yeah, but you got school. Like, you can't come Wednesday night." But you said, Dad, that we were seeing. I was like, "Mate, I love you, but this is Spider-Man and I can't not like it." But yeah, so I'm going to see it twice. But I had zero problems. And the funny thing is, and the reason I mention it is because the Wednesday tickets I got straight away as soon as it kind of went on the website. So I got it. But the Odeon is where I'm going to go and see it. But they only had it listed for the Wednesday. And then the Thursday onwards, there was no showings available. And so I checked back later on in the day and there was still no showings available. And then it was literally that night that I went back on and they had the rest of the week up. And I was still able to go on and pick the right seats and the right time for the Saturday showing, which I just found it really bizarre. And then I was reading online about how it was really, websites crashing and people can't get tickets.
I had no problem because I'm seeing it the same Odeon as you, but I'm seeing it the second day it's out, like the next day. Because unfortunately, I'm just not around on the day it comes out. And it was a breeze. And also, it wasn't even that busy, the screen I've gone for, I'll be honest. Like, I thought it was going to be like, oh, I'm going to have to be sitting on the edge or something. I've got great seats.
Yeah. I booked out a whole showing. Like, I'm that sad. No, I didn't. I didn't. Can you imagine? I booked out the whole cinema because I didn't want anyone else there.
Use a lot of people's limitless cards.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm excited.
I'm not even gonna lie about this. Me, my brother, and my dad all have Cineworld unlimited cards, and they're all linked to my account. So I took great delight in going. There's going to be no one around me. I'm going to book three seats for one guy. I know that's terrible, but I did it.
Yeah,
no, I would do that if I had the opportunity.
I sat in the middle and I've got two either side of me. Like, you are not nudging me through this movie. I'm going to put my elbows out and get comfy.
You turn around, like, laid out.
Mate, you've seen the width of me. Do you mind? I barely fit in them seats to begin with. I need spillage room.
Ash is just laying there, like, chaise lounge style. Like, show me a Spider-Man. Show me your moving picture.
My thing with the cinema is I always have to be on an aisle. That's my only kind of.
Yes. Oh my God, I can attest to this. There has been times when I've made a point of like really looking forward. I've got a really good aisle seat. We got there, and me, Jacob's like, I need to sit on the aisle. I'm like,
I need to sit on the aisle.
Because I bought the ticket, so I'm going to sit at the aisle. It was like,
I was like, come on, dude. I need the aisle seat. It's a real OCD thing. I don't know why. I can't enjoy the film if I'm not on the aisle. Something in my brain doesn't compute. Like, I need to have that. I think it's the escape route. I think it's that kind of if this place burnt down. I've seen too many horror films. Like if something happens, I need to have my clear path of escape.
I've seen even more, like just the same amount of horror films, and I know that you're the first one at the door, which means you're going to be crushed by falling debris, and I'll be the guy just behind going, "Whoa!" So I'll survive, and you're there. So really, it's backfired already.
Oh man. No, I don't want the aisle seat.
I had the choice.
I'm the exact opposite. I have to be at the very top of the theater in the very center.
Good seat.
Yeah, there is like a specific,
like an overlord.
Yeah,
the camera's right over my head.
If you have a look, there is like a specific place in a cinema where you get the maximum like experience, like because
you Sheldon Cooper?
Coopering, yeah.
No, there is. There really.
You took a xylophone. Trying to find the acoustic sweet spot.
But there is a particular kind of red zone in a cinema that the cinema is built around, so that if you're sat in that particular area, you get the best cinematic experience, whether it's the surround sound and the projection. Yeah, I don't know where it is. I like my aisle seat.
Severe OCD.
No, I like my aisle seat. I don't care about that. But yeah, but no, that's good.
Anything else? What showing did you go for? Did you go for 3D, 2D, 4DX? What did you go for? Because they've released every screen possible for this thing.
I don't know actually. I don't know.
You got 3D, 2D?
I've not seen the 3D showing it. Yeah, I think they're all 2D at our Odeon.
No,
Yeah,
City
I
World
think
have got City World is showing it in 3D, 2D, and 4DX. And I was gonna say, has anyone ever tried 4DX? Because it is the most pain in the ass cinema experience of my life.
Is that where they like blow air out?
Yeah, the
underneath your
blue
feet
air
and
at you,
stuff?
the wet you to death, and the bounce you around for like 2.5 hours.
Oh, no.
I went to see the
It's
Predator
like
in
a
it of all movies. I went to see the Predator in it, and every time
Flick-
the Predator
flick
in
moves,
that picture.
every time the Predator moved, the chair bounced. I was like, "This is really irritating now." Boom, boom. It was like, "Oh, for God's sake!"
It's like a theme park ride. I think I saw like Shrek at like Universal Studios like that.
The one time it worked was Jurassic Park when they re-released it
Okay.
because the screen was wider, so you got the full effect of the rain scene with the T-Rex, and obviously you were getting wet in the cinema. You had the air blowing for the wind for the tornadoes, and when the T-Rex was coming, they actually used the bounce very subtly with the T-Rex's boom. So you genuinely felt
cool.
what they would have felt in the car. You sort of like lifted up a little bit, like, oh, that's awesome. Like you can see it, like feel it coming.
And then a shirtless Jeff Goldblum actually ran out from the screen.
They released a musk smell into the audience when he took his shirt off.
I think that's it. I think that was it for the week, though. Was there
What?
Was there
Spider-Verse.
anything else?
Spider-Verse.
Oh, of
What are you
course.
doing?
Yes, of course. Across
Captain
the Spider-Verse.
Spider-Man over there, like, oh, well, yeah, nothing
No,
else to talk about.
But that's because that literally kind of appeared in the last 24 hours. But I mean, it didn't tell us anything, did it? It didn't tell us anything that we didn't know. Obviously, we saw Miguel O'Hara's 2099 in Into the Spider-Verse. We saw Ghost Spider and we saw Miles Morales. So, you know,
Video game or what is that?
no, new film, new movie. So a
Because
So
follow up
sequel to the animated
one.
film.
Because
Sony
the screenshots I saw were terrible.
Yeah, they
Oh,
look.
that might be because of the animation as well. Because like the animation, did you see Into the Spider-Verse?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
when-
so there's like I think one of the themes in this film is like they go for a dimension thing, and it's like even more trippy than the animation itself.
Yeah, I must admit, when I was watching it, like the only parts that looked kind of properly rendered were the bits where they were in like talking, like Gwen and Miles were talking. The whole kind of like psychedelic bit to me just looked like a very early render. It didn't look like it was finished. Like it looked like someone had kind of quickly sketched it on Procreate or something and kind of a flick book on that. But
the big part for me was the fact that it says part 1. So this is clearly start of a franchise now.
Because we're going to get 22 and 23, isn't it? They come out. I think they're coming out 1 year after each other. I think I read.
They're obviously filming them at the same time and doing them together back to back to do that.
Yeah.
So, but no, I mean, it's pretty good.
Into the Spider-Verse was obviously massively popular, and I think it did wonders for kind of Miles Morales and kind of giving fans like a different version or a different angle on the Spider-Man kind of character and universes. So I think it's going to be good. I just hope that it doesn't flop. I hope it doesn't kind of, you know, the first one was so good. I don't
think it will, because of the new generation. Like we were talking before, like my daughter, she's 5. You say Spider-Man, she thinks of Miles Morales. She doesn't think of Peter Parker. She thinks of the black and red suit, and she also thinks of Spider-Gwen because of the kids' TV show that's now out. Obviously, Into the Spider-Verse. Everything she's done to do with Spider-Man from being young has always been Miles Morales. So that is Spider-Man to her now. So I don't see it flopping because I think the new generation of kids will catch on to it.
Oh, I just mean more so that because the first one, the Into the Spider-Verse, was so kind of
so popular.
Yeah, I don't want to say like cutting edge because that's a really over-exaggerated term, but it was so different to anything that we'd had previously for Spider-Man that I think that was part of the. It was, and that's kind of what made it so cool, I think. And I just hope that they don't try to do that too much that we kind of shut off. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you know what? Because I took my mum to go see. Because I always take my mum to go see the Marvel films. My mum loves the Marvel films, so like, normally it's me, my mum, and my wife.
It sounds like the start of a really bad joke.
No, it's no, it's my life. But we always go and see it. And so with the Spider-Man one, I don't think she understood. Like I didn't sort of tell her that it was animated. And so when we went to go and watch it, it started and she was a bit like, "Oh, okay. I don't know if I'm really going to be up for watching anime, but we're here," sort of thing. And by the end of it, she was like, "That was actually amazing. Like that was incredible." But I think you're right. It was just that kind of. It was a risky move to go away from the sort of live action everyone's got so used to, and to put a movie out that was in such and a very unique art style as well, a very literal comic book style. and I think it paid off massively. And I think that's why it will continue to succeed, because it has a unique thing, and also it's a little bit of a breather from everything else.
Yeah, no, true. Speaking of multiple Spider-Men, did you catch my video? Did you like the video that we put out?
That was good.
It was
We
good
were
fun.
in it.
It was good. You were in it. I know you were in it. If you didn't see it, Rektangular, I caught up with like a parkour group here, and we filmed them do like, there was 4 of them, 4 different Spider-Man, like all the movie Spider-Men, including Miles Morales, and they all did multiple tricks to kind of compete to who was the best one. And I got various people involved, a couple of guys from the Legends team, and that to kind of request the tricks. But it was good fun. It was really good fun to film, and it seems to have gone down quite well. But it was definitely cool. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out, because it was good. But yeah, I don't know how I feel about it. I'm really excited about the Miles Morales film. I'm really excited that they're doing a follow-up. As I said, I just really hope that it hits the nail, because the first one was so good. I don't want it to be seen as part of a trilogy or part of a franchise that, the first one was good but the rest sucked. Do you know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. Whereas at the moment, you talk to somebody about Into the Spider-Verse, they say amazing things. Whereas if you have a bad sequel, it then becomes, the first one was good, but the rest were shit or whatever. So that's my opinion. That's my opinion.
Redeemed itself, didn't it?
So,
well,
are we ready for some rapid fire toy news?
Go on in.
So obviously RoboCop, the 35th anniversary, got announced from NECA with 2 different variants. You got the clean regular variant, which looks nice, but they're also doing like a deluxe pack with the battle damaged version. Cool. But that comes with the chair, with the, like, it's like a whole diorama piece that it comes with. It's amazing.
I'm really tempted, because I love RoboCop.
Me too, mate. I want that one so bad. And the fact that you get everything that comes with the regular figure, but just with the battle damage version, that's the one I want. And it comes with the chair and mwah.
Rancor, what's that?
They need to quit screwing around and come out with RoboCane.
Yes, I would love a RoboCane. Yeah, have they even ever done that? Has anyone ever tackled that?
A company is coming out with it in 1/18 scale.
Oh wow.
I always forget the name. It's not Acid Rain, but they're known for 1/18 scale. I can't remember. I think it's Haya Toys.
Okay.
I am so going to look that up as soon as we finish this.
Yeah, I'm holding out for a 6 or 7 inch scale.
Yep.
Then we had Beast Kingdom announce the Batman 1989 figures as part of their DAH line, which is Dynamic Action Heroes. They're really good figures, actually. I really enjoy them. They're quite a bit to import, but they're good figures. We can get them here in the UK from Comics and Cocktails. They tend to stock them. But yeah, they're doing Batman and the Joker. So they look pretty awesome. And then my favorite news of the week, Super 7 announced that they're going to be doing something from the Warner Brothers line. And they've teased us by saying it's from the Arkham Laboratories and the Water Tower. So obviously we're talking Animaniacs. Mm-hmm. So if they've said Arkham Lab, if they've said the labs, I'm hoping that means Pinky in the Brain. If they make a Super 7 Pinky in the Brain.
I get that. I love Animaniacs. I got so lucky. I managed to get all 4 DVDs on charity shops. They obviously didn't know what they had. I got all 4 volumes they did for something stupid like £4. And I was just like, I watched them all in like a day. I love it. So
really aimed at adults as well. Rewatching it. There are a lot of in jokes.
I haven't seen the new one yet.
Really went over my head as a kid, but
that's why it worked though, and that's why it was one of the things where you, like, when I were a kid, my dad could sit and sort of watch Animaniacs and not find it annoying, because there were them like silly jokes in there that adults kind of got, especially with the whole "Hello Nurse" and all that kind of thing.
Hello Nurse.
Hello Nurse. And then
I love it, mate.
Then the other thing that I shared with you guys earlier in the week in our private chat was the new face sculpt they've put on the Santa Claus figure. Big Bad Toy Store exclusive. Yes. It looks like Bob Hoskins in Hook. I'm sorry, it just does.
It does.
That smiling face just looks like Smee.
Have you seen those Rektangular, the Santa figures from Big Bad Toy Store?
I might have, but I just kind of scrolled past it.
Yeah, we were talking about them previously, because obviously we can't get them over here, but they just look. I don't know, for some reason to have an animated an action figure of Father Christmas in 6-inch scale. Just for some reason, like, I want one. I don't know why.
Super 7 is making those.
No, it's
a big zombie something, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's like an independent company. Fresh Monkey Fiction. Of making them on behalf of Big Bad Toy Store. They're gonna be a Big Bad Toy Store exclusive.
Yeah, never heard of the company. Did you see Mythic Legion's Krampus?
Yeah, that looks awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, I was tempted. I just don't need it. It looks awesome though.
See, Mythic Legions is one of them lines that I really want to get into, but I know that if I did, I wouldn't get out, if that makes sense. Like I know as soon as I get my first one, that's it. I'm collecting a new line. So I'm kind of holding out, like, but they are some incredible looking figures.
Got some, there is some vintage Star Wars news actually. There, Stan Solo has successfully created the vintage style Bantha. There's been a couple of different people trying to do it in project forms, but he's actually finished the project and sent one on to I think his name's John Kelly, who's like the sort of US retailer for a lot of Stan Solo stuff. But it looks legit awesome. It looks exactly how Kenner would have made a Bantha back in the sort of late 80s. Like it looks awesome. I'm really excited.
Nice.
And he's also done the 3 Jedi Force Ghosts. So we got, weirdly, in the end of the Kenner line, on here somewhere you'll see him, they did Anakin as the Force Ghost at the end of Return of the Jedi. They didn't do Obi-Wan and Yoda. So you've just got this really washed out old man Anakin that every child wanted to play with. But they never did the other 2. So Stan Solo's done the other 2 as well. And they look also awesome. So I'd recommend anyone checking them out if you're a vintage fan.
It's cool, but at what point do Hasbro send them a cease and desist? They're basically
never, because Hasbro
Star
aren't
Wars
doing
licensed figures.
Yeah, but they're not doing it.
It's cool. I know it's cool that they're doing it. It's awesome. They're probably don't care, but it's just the fact that they are making technically proper like continuation of a series that Hasbro own.
Yeah,
Hasbro, if they were really smart, Hasbro would just go, let's team up.
Yeah. Give that person
the market's obviously there.
Properly.
Yeah. Did Hasbro make a Bantha?
Nah. Well, they didn't. Hasbro have made several Banthas in sort of later years. So the first one was in the Power of the Force 2 range in the 90s, and that was with real fur, which was really awesome. It was really cool. They've done they've repackaged it and matted up the hair a bit a couple of times. They've not had a lot of re-releases, but Kenner back in the original series never did it. It was in the concept folder for What the Future when it was going to be the expanded line, but they never got around to doing it. They never got around to doing Tarkin, who was also in the same kind of binder of unreleased stuff. Vintage knowledge.
A little encyclopedia of Star Wars vintage. Anything else on this, Sorrell? Was that it?
There was just the first ever Sideshow figure that I may buy, and I don't buy Hot Toys. I don't do expensive £300 action figures. However, the Crow has been announced from Sideshow, and I could be very tempted to buy that. I love the Crow.
Yeah,
that was the most depressing comic book I ever read as a child, but it was the best comic book I read as a child.
I loved the movie. I hated all the sequels, but I loved the movie. Like, I think I watched them up until I think there was one with what was the guy that played John Connor?
Oh God,
there was a sequel where he was the Crow.
Wicked Prayer.
Oh, yeah, Edward Furlong.
Edward Furlong, yeah, and he was the Crow in it, and it was just kind of like, no, this is so far. But I love the original, and obviously, as you say, the comic books as well, dipping in and out of those. But didn't McFarlane? Was it McFarlane that did the original kind of Crow figures? They're more like statues.
Yeah, because they were those movie maniac ones, weren't they?
Yeah.
I had the set that was like it was the mirror, and it had what's his name? Eric Draven.
Draven,
yeah. So it had him in like human form, like shirtless and stuff, and then you had this diorama that was like a mirror and the makeup stand, but there was no mirror, and then you had the Crow, and you kind of stood them up like, oh mate, even now I wish I hadn't got rid of that. That was an awesome set. But yeah,
that was everything this week, really.
All right. Anything else you want to add, or are we just kind of come to a close, come to an end on that one? Is there? I don't think there's anything else. Anything else you want to add, Rektangular? Anything that excites you, or?
I'm looking.
That sounded weirder than you wanted it to.
Yeah.
Anything that excites you, Rektangular?
Anything
Lose subscribers, that is.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that Thor wave. Obviously, it'll be a mix of movie figures and probably just a couple of comic book figures. But I'm fingers crossed I get something cool that I've been wanting or wasn't expecting.
Yeah, 100%. I'm all down for MCU figures. I do like my MCU figures. I do like my movie figures. So I'm really excited about the waves that are coming next year. Just next year alone, based on the films that are coming out. I'm really excited for those. But you gents,
weird. It's just weeks away now.
I know.
I'm just excited, obviously, because the night that Hawkeye ends is the week that we get Boba Fett. So I am just fanboying my head off for that week.
It's a good transition.
I actually have got recently into a new subline of Transformers. Yeah, so I said I wasn't getting really much of the new Transformers. I am fully involved in the Studio Series 86. I'm fully committed now. I've got a Blur, I've got a Cup, RC, Rekgar, Nor. I'm here. I am.
You are all
deep into it. I am. I've just. Do you know what? It's one of those things. I was sort of umming and ahhing about it. The 86 movie, Transformers, is still one of my favorite just films of all time. Not even just Transformers things, and it's one of my most nostalgic things. But I love that movie so much, and I've always loved those characters. And I always like the G1 ones are both entertaining, but the G1 toys because they were based around Diaclone toys. Most of them, they don't really look like the characters at all. And also technology was limited in regards to how you make stuff, and they didn't really do panel forming, as it was called back then. But now, like some of the quality of these new ones, I watched a couple of YouTube videos. I think it's like Prime versus Prime did a whole thing about the Studio Series, and it just completely sold me on it. It was just, I guess it's my Black Series. I wasn't gonna do it, and then the boxes come in these beautiful little diorama pieces and stuff. They've got all these little nods that you don't need to add in it, but they've got all these extra accessories. Cup has his little Energon goodies thing and stuff like that, and his limbs come off just like in the movie. It's such a weird thing that they put in, but they have put so much detail in it, and they look so good. So yeah, I'm in now. I'm in.
Nice.
Damn it.
That's it. I say it's a slippery slope, mate. It's a slippery slope.
Selling along.
You find a line that you like and you kind of just fall head first. That's how it works. Well, I suppose if that is all everyone has to add, there's not a huge amount else to talk about. We can round it up there. Obviously, between now and next week's show, we'll be a week closer to Spider-Man No Way Home. So we can probably get one more week's worth of talking about theories and speculation and stuff. We'll have obviously more Hawkeye. We'll be a week closer to Boba Fett. And of course, any other news or reviews or reveals that drop in that time we'll talk about as well. But that is about everything we've got time for this week. Obviously, check out the description below. All the gents' details are in there, so do make sure that you give them a follow. A huge thank you to obviously Rektangular for joining us this week. I will put his details down there as well. Make sure you give Guy a follow. Thanks very much for joining us. So yeah, I think that is about everything. Please do like, share, subscribe, all of those things. It just leaves me to say, keep it geek.
The Geek Week in Review.